And just like that, now I'm not 100% done, but just like that, this baby's got a little shine going, got a little bling. It's actually ready to go. It's in better shape than all my other reels. I got it cleaned up and it's ready to go. Got that spool in it. So it is ready. I did a quick polish, and if you know anything about these, once you handle them, the polish goes away. I think honestly these probably were more or less made just to for the collectors to collect and put on a shelf kind of deal, but I fish mine, the few I've had. But that definitely looks as good or better than all my other reels. So I just wanted to get that out there and show you guys that real quick and do a real quick talk about BFS reels, because I don't know if I went into it too much on the first unboxing of this reel about just how many things are interchangeable with these and where you can find the parts. Now, you may still be able to go to Hedgehog Studios and find a lot of Alpha's parts. I don't know. But I know that AliExpress also has a lot of stuff. Like basically the drag stars won't fit. Now, there's a kit you can buy and you can search online on as far as a drag clicker kit for the star drag on an Alphas, and basically you need all the parts that would go on the newer Alphas that were being made before the TW. The CT, the compact one, does Airstream Custom have a drag clicker? Those parts, it's basically you're going to need a longer shaft and then a drag star and the internal guts that work that. So I'm still up in there on what I'm going to do with this reel because it's fishable just like it is. I mean, I could switch. You can, somebody's messaging me. Right off the bat though, you could switch out handles. You could run several different handles. I did mention that earlier when I did the unboxing, but if they're swept too far, you can actually bend that in. And that's probably what I'm going to do. And comment, what do you guys think? Would you guys just fish it like this? Would you put the stock handle back on it? I also did find out, if you guys remember, we had an issue with the, there's a stock handle in case you didn't catch the first unboxing. There's that handle on there, and that's basically a stock reel with this spool. Earlier, when I couldn't get this out, it was because this was stuck in the side, which is, they're notorious for that, is what someone else had also mentioned. I do kind of remember that, but this bearing has an issue, and I think that's what the catching part was. What's weird is I just sat and have worked it with my hand and it freed up, so I don't know. It's almost like somebody stuck putty in there instead of oil to oil that bearing. But anyway, Daiwa Alpha's Ito AI. I'm not sure exactly what year this was made. It was a very limited run. What I wanted to talk about though is how these are still, like they're right there. They make an aftermarket spool on AliExpress that you can get for a true BFS. This is more of just a finesse, and it says right on it the original reel that this spool came with was a custom finesse. So basically powered BFSing, it will still work just like it is, but if you want to turn this reel into a true BFS for lightweight, 2 grams, gram and a half, you would need to get that aftermarket spool. But I thought you guys can kind of make out how far away the line guide is from the spool, which is actually pretty far still compared to a lot of other reels. Like the lingle, it looks to me like it's just as far. Now the lingle has that crazy wide, let me get it in the center, crazy triangle line guide that definitely helps it. And then this still has just a regular traditional one that a lot of your reels still have. The Spirit Fox, PW100 still have that, but on this reel, I would say that it's definitely moved up by a few millimeters, and that's what helps this one casting, because this one does cast real good. But these are good casters. These are very good. The Alphas reels, for those of you guys that don't know much about them, very capable little reel. The drags were kind of what I would call funky. I did clean this one up. Oh yeah, I tore it all down, greased it, and while I had it tore down, I polished up, just did a quick polish. I could have done a lot better, but I wanted to get it back together and not have to spend forever on it, because I kind of wanted to just see what I want to do with it and get it all back together and make sure it worked. But I did go ahead and I got a bearing to go in there. When you switch those out, it's kind of the same thing I did on this one, except this one was capable and it let me put a bearing on each side of that level of the worm gear for the level wind. The older die was just like what this reel's made. This reel, I think almost all of your reels, a lot of them, you have to go through a lot more work to get a bearing over here. So I did have a bearing, and I got a bearing put over there, and you got to put spacers. So it is a little better than when I just got it, and especially the spool bearing that was bound up or whatever. But this was honestly I gave $105 for it. I caught it on eBay. And other than polishing it up, I could put this stock spool back in. I need to spray out that bearing and re-lube it. And the stock handle back on it, and other than just polishing it up, it's a fishable reel, that's got some, I guess, style, you would say, to it. So you guys comment, what would you do? Like, here's my options. Of course, I could just sell it, keep it like it is, or I could go ahead and go crazy. I've priced the parts a few different times. It's about $130 for all of the either red or gold aluminum parts, including a $54 spool. I could just buy a red spool and slap in it and leave it just like that. But if I get all the red parts, I would be looking at, what else? What all? So you get the worm gear tube, the cap. You would get the center, I don't even know what they call that. The shaft for the worm gear, I don't even know what they call that. I forget the name of it right off the top of my head, but so, and if I got them in different color, I think I would change. I wouldn't get like all red or all gold there. Since that is gold, my thoughts were I'll get that in red, then the two here in gold, because those come as a set. You get like the tube and the cap together. So I'd break that up a little bit. They don't have a gold spool, so my only option would be red if I want to stick with red and gold. But then they also make aluminum brake, so I would get that in gold. But if I get a red spool, red and red, it's just too much red, I think would be too much. I talked about it in the other video. I had an Alphas R, type R, and I had it put all kinds of red screws, red everything, and I didn't like it once I got done with it. So then over here, you can get that piece, the brake dial, and the cap in different colors. So I think I would get a red screw, and then with the gold here, you would and then the gold cast control cap, you can get gold or red. I think I would get gold because then you got the red here and here, and then I would actually go one way or the other. Go with the red nut and then gold. Oh shoot, I forget the names of all this stuff as I'm sitting here talking about it. But because you got red here, I guess I would want the gold for the locking mechanism for the nut. Is that it? Yeah, then it would give it a nice red and gold. And the more gold you add would let you transfer this to, I guess, make it kind of like the lingle, be able to fit on other rods and look fine without being, too much red. You're kind of stuck to a black or black with red rod. Sometimes they look kind of funky looking if you got, too much red. And there's already a lot of red on there now. So basically you would still have the same amount of red. You'd actually add a piece of red here, take away, add a piece of gold there. Then you would add a red screw, because when you're looking at it like this, you have this is red internally. So just the nut red would actually look good. Or you could go the other way. You could go with the outer part, the dial red and the nut gold, because out here you don't, you know, it breaks it up a little bit, and then gold here. That's my thoughts. If I want to spend that much money, I'm not sure if I want to, because it'll fish just like it is. Or it'd fish, just get the spool and just leave it stock looking. I'll probably go ahead and get these littler parts in different colors, because these are cheaper. These are like $5 to $8 for some of this other stuff. Now, I think this button, the clutch thumb bar, and then this piece are like 20 something each. That's the expensive part when you get those two parts with the spool. This little thing here, the tube and that are actually not that expensive. Now I could go nuts and order all the other stuff, and I will definitely need to put a drag clicker in it. Will I just try to make one, or will I buy one, or who knows? Because I could make one out of how many stacks are on the drag has all the stuff actually on it, where I could make one out of those parts. So I may do that. All kinds of stuff. So as far as palming, I was going to show you like comparison for those of you that aren't familiar with this. It actually looks and feels. What's weird is it kind of, in like the highest spot, I think it sets a touch higher than the lingual, but overall it sets a touch lower than the lingual. Like the majority of it, except the very highest spot. And it still is a very small reel. This sets a little bit lower. I'm pretty sure it beats out the Cast King. Let's just see. Let's just see how they feel. Here's how I kind of do sometimes. I'll just put one in there, get a feel of it, slide it out, slide another one in real quick. Yeah, this feels like I can feel it's bigger. It's more stuff in my hand than this thing. So this has a better palming feel, the Alphas does. This feels good. It honestly feels, they feel very like close. I know they look like a totally different looking reels, but they palm like where I'm feeling my finger hit here, my thumb to where it sets, the height up. They honestly palm. They both feel very, very good. They don't feel as small as this or an Aldebaran. Like I can just feel, I close in my hand and everything on further on these. So yeah, that's even a smaller feel. And those three are all Aldebarans. This thing feels big, like all the time. It feels good, but my PW100 palmed what felt smaller. Just a little bit of bulk, the way they added this. I mean, it feels good, but it feels bigger, the Spirit Fox, even though it's the same frame as a PW100. It just palms a little bigger. So yeah, I don't know if it won't help you guys if you don't have a lingual or a Steez, but this palm's very close to the feel of the lingual. Yeah, I like both of these. They palm very good. They palm bigger than the Black Knight 2 or Aldebaran, but they feel better than the Spirit Fox or the that guy, the Zephyr. And the Zephyr palm's nice, but it's just bigger, sets up higher. It's actually got the same kind of design frame, or not really frame, but see the side plate, the way it's shaped? It's got almost the same molding design, but it's hard to make out. It just, if you guys can make out, well, I'll show you by looking like this. You see how much further down, like out from, further down it sets on this, and the Zephyr doesn't. And it's, some of you guys may not notice that or whatever, but that difference, you can feel that. I would guess that at like probably over a millimeter, probably closer to 2 millimeter difference. I think they tried to copy, I'll be honest, this reel, and there's several of them out there I'm going to be talking about in the video. I think the Crixus, and there's I think it's called Pure Lure. If you guys want to jump ahead of me before I start showing you on AliExpress, there's a few reels out there that carry this same frame, and I think it's actually a copy of the newer Aldebaran. It's just not a good copy. I think they copied it. If you guys can see how low this sets and how high this one sets up from the reel seat. See what I'm saying? So it's like they copied this, they changed this a little bit, but they set it up so high. They set it up, I don't know, probably somewhere around just 2 millimeters, but just that difference. And then they didn't get as narrowed up either. But the more I look at these two reels, see how they got this exact, the way these pieces go on. It's just like you can almost see where they started to cut out. Like it's got the same started to go shape to where they cut this out for the dial, but then the dial's just round. And if they had figured out, tuck that dial in, see how much higher this sticks out and this is flatter. Just that couple millimeters here and there made this thing feels like a monster compared to this. Palm's nice just like this. But it feels like I'm holding a baseball, and it feels like I'm holding a softball. It's crazy how that difference feels to me anyway. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Wow, 18 minutes. We're going to have the shortest video ever on live stream here at Bass and Bonsai. If you got any questions, feel free to comment. Let me know what you guys think about this reel, or just the whole process of buying a used reel, cleaning it up, fixing it up, buying some, I guess I would call it new late model parts for it, like you would a car, slap some new mag wheels on it, maybe get a finesse spool and throw it back out on the streets and burn some rubber. What do you guys think? That's a nice looking reel. I'll be honest. I've liked some of these AliExpress reels, and they've got spools that will definitely smoke this spool, but it is still hard to beat the looks of some of these Daiwa Alphas, some of the old TDZs. Just they had especially when they had the owner of Megabass working for them, kind of putting out some just custom, they came out of the factory, a custom reel. You won't find that stuff nowadays. The Lingo comes close. The Lingo, that's why I think I like it. It palms real nice. It already has that, like Hopup look to it. It's already got stuff on it, which I switched the handles out, but the stock handles look nice, like the real tested comment, ZPI like look to it. Oh yeah, while I'm on the reel test, one thing about the reel test, he just did a video talking about Hedgehog, and I think he got everything right. Pretty much. I mean, all he was doing was showing you the stuff and the fact that it is expensive. But when he talked about mentioning knobs, I remember listening to that part, and I'm like, oh no, I think he got it wrong. because I bought a lot of handles, knobs, and all kinds of other stuff off AliExpress. And all the ones I've bought so far, every one of them, this is just a handful of stuff I grabbed. Every one I've bought is it has this, which is 8x5. That's Daiwa Abu Garcia, not Shimano. Now, most of them, if you specify that you want it for Shimano, a lot of them don't even send you anything different other than this. You can buy these separate. This will let any handle that came off, most of them from AliExpress, and anything that came off of Daiwa or Abu Garcia fit right on a Shimano. It just narrows it up from being 8-5 to a 7-4. And I know you guys are thinking, oh, well, I don't want that. And I mean, you will eventually, like this thing will wear out. It doesn't, I haven't had any issues with it messing up my teeth, because if you look, that's actually a Daiwa handle on my Aldebaran BFS. That's an AliExpress handle on the 50, and another AliExpress handle on the MGL. And every one of them has this little adapter. I just stick it, on the shaft first, and then, push it all the way down flush, and then it goes on there, and then that lets them work. And then I'm also a stickler for when I tighten down my when I tighten a nut down, I go, snug. You got to go crazy, but then you want to, figure out where you need to go. But usually before I'll loosen it, if I can feel this wiggling, whether it be with this or these on a straight Daiwa or Abu Garcia, I want to go tighter, turn it a little bit before I put my lock spacer, whatever the heck they call that, on. I don't want to have to loosen that nut. I definitely want it to be tightened by some sort of wrench. I don't want to have no hand tightened deal on, because what happens over time, that'll wallow around, especially now if you have one of these, a lot of times it'll just wallow that out and that'll be destroyed, which is fine. Those are cheap. But if you get going too crazy without that, or it wears past that, it never fails. This ends up totally destroyed, or even worse, your shaft, which can be harder to get and replace and all that. So I definitely make sure that nut's tight. But when the real test was talking, he was saying that I think he was saying that, I don't know if he was trying to say that most of these have this, like for Abu Garcia or Daiwa, but if he was talking about the knobs themselves, they typically come with the holes, and most of the handles do too, that are pretty much Daiwa. You can have some Shimanos fit that, but most of them I'm finding that's how they come. And then most of them I get, if they have foam or the like press cork, most of those I've yet to come across any of them that use glue to actually glue them on. So what you can do, no matter what reel you have, if you want to put, EVA foams or those press cork looking ones. I don't have any out here at the. Where's all my press cork ones? I don't have any more. You can get. Well, here's one I cut down. You know what I'm saying when I talk about press cork? It's that. What I call cheap cork. It's basically they grind it all up, glue it together, and form it, and then cut it down instead of actually being like a true cork, which I know mine look kind of pitted, but I like that natural stuff instead of this when I get a choice. But over just a black handle, I'd prefer even those, which there's a lot of that in this thing on AliExpress or EVA foams. But even if you have an Abu Garcia with foam on it, you can actually peel that foam off your, I guess, shaft, rod, whatever. I don't even know what you call this. Once you get that off, because Abu Garcias typically come like this, and then most of these are still long enough they'll fit right on. even Abu Garcia or whatever color you want. So anyway, but I'm gonna go probably tomorrow is when I'm gonna try to work on that video, and I'll show you guys how I track down stuff on AliExpress. I'm trying to put on my computer so I can record on my phone, showing you on the computer. I'll be honest, I had a hard time finding stuff that's on my phone, having it right there in front of my face, typing in the exact description that they're giving me on my phone, and my computer wouldn't find it on AliExpress. Luckily, one of them spelled wrong. You can search salt and fresh, the little and symbol, and salt, the and symbol, fresh, all one word. That sometimes will bring up the reel. That's the only way I found it on my computer. And then, oh shoot, there's another one that is totally spelled wrong, and that's the only reason I found it. But what I have coming, and what I'm going to show you guys tomorrow, because a lot of you guys may not even be seeing it if you want one. I've got another lingo-like reel coming. It's got red highlights. The downside is, well, the upside is it comes with 2 spools. The downside, it's the old flat Magtrax style, just flat magnets in order for both spools to work. Because one's a deeper and one's a shallow, and I think it's definitely heavier than this spool, but it's more like a all-around BFS spool and then a regular spool. But that reel was $74, and I think it's got the clicker. It's supposed to have the clicking drag. I can't even remember. I have to look again. I think it's got this star, but in red, and then red here, and it's got some kind of Chinese or Japanese symbols here. And then I've got another one coming that looks kind of like these, but it looks more like I guess more Steez, like it's all one color black with the red spool. Now the spool says 7.3, so it should be basically the same spool that is in this, but I think it's also Magtrax. But that one of them was only 70. No, wait, one was 74 and one was 65. But I got that reel also coming. I don't know if you guys heard me mention, I do have a Corrado BFS reel coming. I found that sucker on the LT Fishing Store where I buy all my other stuff. They had one. I got it for like, it was either $166 or $170, brand new Corrado BFS. By the time my discounts or whatever, so I couldn't beat that. I was like, well, I gotta, and I'm blaming the reel test for it. He was holding up the Dark Wolf Ultra and the Corrado next to it, and he's like, and once which it's hard to tell, which I know exactly what he's saying whenever, sometimes you're holding them up and what you're seeing out here, what I'm looking at, and what I'm looking at through the camera will look different, and you'll think like, well, yeah, that one's bigger or whatever. Because this right here looks like a little bit longer reel, like there's more volume there. But this set's lower than this reel. This definitely kind of looks like a smaller side plate, but it sets up higher, so it's going to have a little bit of higher feel. But these are still very small reels. They're heavy. You guys want to know what they weigh? All right, we're going to weigh them and then get out of here. I already weighed it, but I'll show you guys. Can you guys see that? Oh, no, you can't. Can you see it now? I'll just read it off to you. Zeroed out. This guy, let's just first see what the Lingo. Lingo is one of my heaviest reels. Now, this has line on it, and I do have single lifestyle, so your reels won't weigh what these do. 154 ounces. No, 154 grams. 158 grams. So this is 4 grams heavier than this. That's not a lot. They really don't feel, they feel very close. That's the heaviest one I got. Whoa, get up there. 150. 152. This is actually not too heavy. I keep trying to make myself like this reel. I just can't do it. I don't know why. It's like the clamber. I got rid of the clamber. I'll be honest. I like this reel now better than I do the Cast King just because it's the cool factor. And I know for $54 I can upgrade the spool that it will probably be as good or better than this spool. I was trying to make myself like this reel because it is, like I mentioned and showed you guys, I think it's almost a direct copy of the Aldebaran. It has a bulkier feel to it. I like this reel, although it sometimes sounds like a chivy. Very smooth reel. This reel, I don't know. Now I've changed it up. I think, yeah, this is the one I've got the bearing. I added a bearing there. I don't think I added a bearing there. I don't know. I don't remember. But that reel definitely feels good. It feels free. It feels smooth, but feels free. This one feels real good now. This one I've had some issues with. This guy, we're past 30 minutes. I just oiled it, and I think I put too much, or greased and oiled it, and I think I got too much grease somewhere because it felt freer when I first first time. If you guys remember, I took it apart. Grease. You can't really add too much. You get it so kicked in anyway. And so I turkey. Now it's actually not near as funky. I'm gone. I'm out. I'm put together a video tomorrow showing you probably the different reels that I found that are basically the same. They're not necessarily copies. I don't know who started copying who or what, but same frame reels. What options are out there on AliExpress? What I would recommend or whatever. Because not that I'm a professional, but there's some junk ones out there too. And I'll even show you those. I'll show you one that I'm probably going to buy. It's a $31 piece of crap. And I'll be honest, I'm probably going to buy it. Be looking for that video, probably a live one. I don't know what time, probably earlier than this one. And I probably won't have a video coming out tomorrow on the fishing part because I just haven't had time to get in there and edit videos. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, if you like BFS bass fishing, if you like the reel test, tactical bassing, and I'll get out of here saying that I even commented and they're like, oh, thanks that we could, made me whatever, that I accepted the deal on their fishing. But Tactical Bassin did a buyer's guide deal today, and I'll be honest, they hit the nail right on the head. They nailed that one as far as BFS, kind of what it is and what they recommend. And because that's what they do, they recommend not necessarily the highest end, what's available, the like mainstream available stuff, and kind of the spectrum of it, which surprised me that they mentioned the Cast King, because and like he said, he hadn't fished it, but he must have been reading. This may cast lighter baits as good or touch better, but I think overall I'll probably like the Corrado better. Still telling you guys right here, this is the best reel ever made. I did it in the video. I was kind of jokingly, I was kind of making references to Mike Iaconelli, and I caught this stick. Do you guys remember that video? But this reel just does it. And that's kind of why I never, I guess, got my hands on a Corrado, because I got, and I don't know, I don't need multiple awesome reels. One awesome reel, throw it on whatever I'm doing at the time. The other one's kind of back it up. And then so far out of AliExpress, I'm still leaning towards this guy. I like this guy. They both did me dirty, gave me too heavy a spool, left out bearings. Line definitely jumps in there, real thin line. Real thin line gets iffy, but I haven't actually had to take this plate off to get the line out yet on this reel. This reel already just looks cool. Comes right out of the box. Boom, look at me. I'm awesome. This one kind of goes, I look like I got a nice paint job, but I got this, like, I'm not a fan of that. The Dark Wolf Ultra, I actually like that cutout that it has. Don't be surprised if you see me crisscrossing the parts just to see what it look like. Take these side plates, stick them on the Dark Wolf Ultra when it comes in, just to see. I ain't gonna lie, I'm the guy. I gave $500 once for the MG Extreme 2 just because I knew I could get it before it was released. Don't think I won't buy just a couple of these reels to make one reel, the way I want it for $75. It's only a $150 reel, and you got a whole nother spare reel for parts. I just gave 105 for this dude, and he, looked rough, but actually came out fine. There's a little bitty spot I still got to work on here. That's the problem with some of these. A lot of guys will pass them up because they do. Sometimes you can get ones with pits that you can't really buff out. But so far, this guy, everywhere I've looked and all the dark spots, I managed to get cleaned up. Now, I didn't do a full-on polish. Well, for one thing, my Dremel's not here. I did all this by hand. But this reel, other than that crack on the plate, I don't have a box or anything either, but this reel is in all good shape. There's no issues with it. Very nice. For $105, yeah. I like it. I think I got a good deal. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. A lot more coming.